Valley Talk on News Talk 1580 KGAL.
This is Valley Talk, KGAL. We're in the Albany studios live today. I'm Dave Adams. We have a full studio once again and a rather interesting show for you. Glad you could join us today. Ken Toomb, who is the incumbent mayor for Lebanon, running for re-election. We had last week Paul Aziz, the challenger in the race. Ken was not able to be at the studio at the time that Paul was, so Ken is in the studio today. We will be taking email questions from you. If you want to get involved in the conversation, you can email them to dave@kgal.com. Hasso Herring, glad to have you once again in the studio here on Valley Talk.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
And John Gibson. And we're going to be talking last half hour of the show with John about Superstorm Sandy and its impact on Wall Street and the financial markets. Also, Annette Hobbs from Fish will be here at the bottom of the hour for about 10 minutes. They've had a very successful fundraising, food-raising campaign. We're going to be talking to her about what the winter looks like and what's going on with fish. So that's what the show looks like today. Don't forget to sign up for the Quiznos Taste on Us sub-sandwich giveaway, a $10 gift certificate. Give it away at the end of the show. Simply email Quiznos Taste on Us on your subject line and send an email to dave@kgal.com or give us a call at 541-451-KGAL or 541-926-8683. And again, at the end of the show, we'll pull a name out of the hat for that. First off in the show, Mayor Ken Toomb, thank you for being with us on Valley Talk today.
Thank you for inviting me, Dave. I'd like to also thank Hasso Herring and John Gibson for being here. First of all, I'd like to read my candidate statement. During the worst economy since the Great Depression and a time when most cities and counties have cut vital programs and staff, the City of Lebanon has significantly increased city services as follows. Police Public Safety, 46%. Senior Dial-A-Bus, 43%. Library Services, 58%. Street Maintenance, 27%. This was accomplished without reducing other city services or reducing the city's fiscal reserves, which have increased by almost $5 million or 36% since I have become your mayor. During my last 2 terms, the city has approved a 7% property tax rate reduction effective this year, participated in the effort to attract Lebanon's new medical college, Comp Northwest, won the statewide competitive bid for the new Oregon Veterans Home, bringing in over 150 to 200 new jobs, not counting the nearly 1,000 jobs added to the local economy since 2005. Thelma and I are lifelong residents of Oregon, having devoted 48 years plus to help build a successful and sustainable future for Lebanon. I have decades of volunteer service and involvement with such organizations as the Lebanon Boys and Girls Club, Lebanon Chamber of Commerce, Lebanon Planning Commission, Lebanon Hospital Foundation, Oregon Council, Cascade Council of Governments, and the Oregon Mayors Association. I have been honored receiving Oregon Mayor of the Year, Large Cities Mayor of the Year, Lebanon's Man of the Year, and Senior Citizen of the Year. The next 2 years are critical for Lebanon. The city needs a proven leader, one who knows how to leverage the success of Lowe's Distribution Center, the new medical college, and the new Veterans Home. I have and will continue to work towards improving city services and attract more new businesses to bring new jobs and an enhanced quality of life for Lebanon citizens. My record as your mayor and my long residency and service to Lebanon demonstrates my love for our community. With your support and your vote this November, we will continue to lead Lebanon down the road of prosperity, leaving a wonderful legacy for generations to come. Thank you, Dave.
Okay. Hasso, do you have a question?
Well, Mr. Mayor, that's quite a long list of accomplishments. You have to wonder then why sometimes there's a little bit of unrest in Lebanon. There is, for example, I believe there's some unrest about the size of the level of water, the price of water, city water. And I'm wondering why it is so high, that is why the price is so high, and what you as mayor or what the council could do about it from now on.
First of all, you go back about 12 to 15 years, we had a sewer system that was inadequate. and we also had a water system that was inadequate for the city of Lebanon. The council opted to increase the sewer system first. We spent approximately $10 to $12 million in upgrading the sewer treatment plant. The biggest vision that the council had was putting in what we call the West Side Interceptor, which is a 60-inch line that goes from the treatment plant along the west side of Lebanon, so that we could develop all of the western side of Lebanon, which included Lowe's, Laticrete, the increased size of Intech, the medical college. So our priorities was at that time to upgrade our sewer system, which we were at capacity at that time. Since that job is basically completed, we're still working on the last segment of the West Side Interceptor, but our water treatment plant needs an upgrade. Yes, we could have raised the rates earlier, but we knew that we were going to have to build a new treatment plant. We started that. My opponent has said that we kicked the can down the road. I don't think we kicked the can down the road, because our sewer system was a higher priority than our water system. We've taken care of the sewer system. Now we're working on the water, and yes, the rates are high, but it's an enterprise fund that has to stand on its own, and that is through rate increases and strictly rate. It is not subsidized by the city general fund. So,
well, is there anything then that can be done to either lower the water rates or water price increases, or to slow down the rate of increase?
The rate of increase I hope will slow down because we have to meet certain criteria for the bonding. At this point, we estimated that our water treatment plant is in the neighborhood of $20 million. By increasing our rates, and we're in the fourth year of that rate increase right now, and these were substantial rate increases, we will be able to bond for about $10 million. So we're building a reserve in that water system plant and that fund, so that we won't have to go out for as high a bond as we normally thought we would.
So are you saying you're paying for some of that in advance?
Yes, we are.
Building up a reserve, a savings account, in effect?
Basically, that's what it is, to lower our bond, and the projections now that we'll be able to bond for about half of what the original plant was going to cost. So that, in a way, is good business.
Now, part of that expansion of the water system and the sewer system has to do with economic expansion, does it not? I mean, that's the reason for it.
It's very important, because without the upgrades, our sewer system was basically at capacity. We were real close to that. Our water system is bumping up against capacity, so both of those systems had to be increased, improved, so that we could continue the economic development. It's very critical to have those in place.
I think we've heard that perhaps the beneficiaries of those developments, that is, new users, customers, those, for example, are paying a much lower rate for water. They get sort of a break on that. Is that a fair thing? Is that true, first of all, and is that a fair thing?
When we were negotiating with Lowe's, we were in competition with 3 other states. This was all part of the incentive package, was to give them a break on the water for the first 3 or 4 years. We are through that now. They are paying the full rate, and yes, we did subsidize them. The state, the total subsidy package for Lowe's, and this was a partnership between the state, the county, Lynn County, and the city of Lebanon, is about $20 million package. Part of the city's involvement was we gave them a break on the water rates, and this was for just a few years. We also agreed to pay for the wetlands that they encountered there, and then we haven't been billed for and we don't know what this figure will be, for the total fill that they had to build the pad up for the total of the store. So those were all part of the incentive
This is something
package.
that the city paid for?
The state has paid for the bulk of this.
I see. Okay. Are you saying that the water price break for Lowe's, for example, is no longer in existence?
It's no longer. They're paying the full rate.
Okay.
And this was just part of the incentive package to entice them to come to Lebanon.
Does the medical college get a similar break?
No.
Okay. You talked about you talked about all the things that have been going right in Lebanon. One of the things that have sort of gone off the rails a little bit for a while there, it seemed, was the management of the police department. Lebanon had a police chief, a new one, who replaced a long-time officer who served in that office. And he left after about, a year or thereabouts?
I think it was about 10 months that
right.
Chief Dolly left.
Do you happen to know why he left?
He told us that he wanted to go home, back to North Dakota. We tried to get him to tell us why he left, and he said, "I'm just going home." The other part of that was that Chief Dolly's wife, she gave up a real good teaching job in Minnesota. They lived right on in Moorhead there, and then also her parents moved out to Oregon with her, and some of the scuttlebutt, I guess, or rumors, you say, that they were unhappy with leaving their home. Apparently, they had a business back there that they had to either sell or discontinue, and they moved back, and then it was just weeks before Chief Dolly and his wife moved back. He resigned.
And then, of course, Lebanon chose, after an extensive process, another candidate for police chief who, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong about that, Mayor, accepted the job, except that at the last minute pulled out. Is that right?
Yes, Mark Daniels from actually Sherwood.
Mm-hmm.
He accepted the position, and then at the very last minute, he decided that he wanted to stay in Sherwood. So he did pull out. So.
And did he get? Did the city get what you think is a satisfactory explanation for that move?
We got what he would tell us, and I, it's up to him to tell us the real reason. Basically, he said he decided that he would want to stay in Sherwood.
Well, did you get any indication that he or others felt that there was anything amiss in the city administration that caused him to not accept that job?
He was offered a larger salary than was advertised. He was given every opportunity to succeed in Lebanon, and only Mark can tell us the real reason. He told us that he decided to stay in Sherwood, and I honor that decision.
At the time, Mayor, I think it was about that time that the controversy erupted over the move of some city administration officials to the new Justice Center, to the police department in the Justice Center. Do you think that had anything to do with that candidate's declining the job?
I can't shed any light on that. I don't think so. But let's go over the reason for the move. The city was renting a building for what we called the Community Development Center, which was the planning and the engineers department and the building inspector. We were paying, including utilities, approximately $56,000 a year. Now, my opponent said it was only 26, but the actual figures were $56,000 a year. City manager Johnny had canceled that lease, and we had 9 vacant offices in the Justice Center that were not being used. So he moved 6 positions out of the City Hall down to the Justice Center to occupy those vacant offices. When they closed the CDC building, they moved 13 people out of CDC into the City Hall. We did some remodel to accommodate those offices, so we moved the HR assistant manager, the payroll clerk, the city recorder, and then support staff down to the Justice Center and those were all vacant offices, so we didn't displace anybody.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but didn't one of those offices used to belong to the chief? The chief was moved to another office in the back of the building?
The chief this was sprung upon us when we were actually we were interviewing for a police chief. One of the members of the, one of the members of the interview committee was the former interim police chief, Mike Schulte. There were 6 of us in the room going over the candidates, and he made the statement that he was going to move, at that time, Lieutenant Ben Silverman back with the patrol officers. That was a shock to all of us. We said, where does that come from? He said, well, I've decided that's the best move. So the former police chief, Mike Schulte, moved Ben back to an office where the patrol office left that office vacant. Now the uproar was, well, that's where the city manager's going to move. Well, he never moved anything into that office. It was vacant. And then when city manager John appointed Ben as the chief, then Ben moved back to that office, but it was never occupied by anybody else.
Has that controversy, is that over now, Mayor, or is that still is that still playing a role in the campaign?
I think it is. There has been some talk about it. My opponent has criticized this move. I think it boiled down to a good economic and a good business decision to save money by canceling the lease and then moving the payroll, city clerk, and the assistant manager into the police station or justice center, and then moving all of the people out of the community development into the city hall. One of the benefits from that, it allowed us to be open more hours at City Hall, to keep the doors open longer rather than having to close when there was nobody to cover for noon hours. Now we're open from 8 to 5.
Mayor Toomb, let's talk about something, the future for a minute rather than old stuff. In another term of mayor, what is it that you hope to accomplish?
We have things that I would like to see completed is we have the Veterans Home that is under construction right now. They're putting the pad in now. They will probably start the building construction sometime in 2013. Another major thing that we've already LBCC has secured funding to put in auto mechatronics, a big auto shop on the advanced technology of autos, electric, battery.
This is a training center for new kinds of technology on automobiles.
Yes, and that's they will open that up in 2013.
Let me ask you, I'm curious, how is it that Lebanon managed to land that particular project?
The LBCC?
Yeah.
Through our Northwest Urban Renewal District, we made an amendment to the plan, which you can't spend any money unless you make an amendment with the plan. We increased the area of our Northwest Urban Renewal District to include the old Pace America site where LB is moving, and we awarded them $1,400,000 seed money to help with this program. Now they've received large donations, and then the college is also putting up money, but that's how we were instrumental in securing that megatronics, as they
Pretty good use of an urban renewal district mechanism, isn't it?
It's great use. The Northwest has been one of the most, if not the most successful urban renewal districts in the state of Oregon.
Mayor Toomb, I've got a question here for you. Let's talk about transparency in government. Some of the critics of the current administration are saying that Lebanon City Hall isn't transparent, that they don't have an opportunity to input into the government process. What would you say to those folks? First of all, do you feel there's enough transparency in Lebanon government?
Well, you probably can always have more transparency, but every major decision that is made is always made in a public forum. We advertise our council meetings and all of the news media, the papers and the radio stations. We try to get that information out as soon as possible. We have it on our website, so I think we're doing an adequate job of being transparent, and they're always welcome to go on the website or call me, or my name is listed. I also have my personal phone and my cell phone listed.
Okay. I have a question for Ken.
Yes.
All I care about is jobs. All this political stuff I don't care about. How many jobs have you brought to Lebanon? Not you. You're not the kind of person that says you. You're a kind of person that says we. How many people have we employed with your leadership?
Well, I will say that I have a chart here that was put out by the state employment in 1980, which was the height of the timber, and when the plywood mill. Lebanon had approximately 3,500 jobs that they said lived in Lebanon. The jobs in Lebanon. In 1990, we lost 1,100 jobs down to 2,600. 2003, it's estimated that we surpassed the 3,500. We were at about 3,450, 3,500. In 2014, the projection now is 5,400. So that's 1,900 more jobs. And I would say that's 34 years, but that's a pretty good measuring stick.
That's a good run. Thank you very much.
One more question back to I have one more question, then I'll give it to Hasso for a closing and a follow-up from you. Let's go back to the police station once again. There are critics that say that, number one, they didn't have a say as far as the police station, this justice center. They believed that was going to be a justice center, and then it was transformed into a city hall. A number of citizens don't feel like they have the input, back to the transparency issue again. Number two, they have a question about security. It's a secure building, and so if they want access to the government, to the city government departments in that building, it's harder for them to get access because of the increased security. What would your response be?
The increased security, yes, you have to have a CGIS clearance, which is a fingerprint and a background check, to have full access. Now, that's just to those offices.
What offices are there?
That's the city clerk, the assistant city manager, HR person, the recorder, and support staff, and payroll clerk.
So the city clerk, you have to have a background check and fingerprinting just to
be approved to go through that, to have
to talk to the city clerk.
Yes.
Don't you feel like that's...
Oh, you don't have to have... No. To work in that building, you have to have a clearance. But to get to that office, you just have to be escorted back.
Okay.
And that is just a background check and fingerprints.
But some people feel that encumbers their access to the city clerk. How do you feel
all they
about
have to do is the dispatch department, the police department, just escorts them back.
Okay.
It's a very simple process, and you only go about 30 feet to those offices. To get to the actual police department, you have to have another clearance, which that's just the officers. You
don't feel that encumbers their access to the city clerk?
They don't have access to that.
I'm talking about the city clerk. You don't feel that's...
No, it doesn't, no, because they
You don't feel that's a problem?
No, it isn't. Okay. Because it's very easy to get there. You just... The police office, just the reception officer just calls somebody, they come get you, or or they'll escort you back.
Sure.
But, I've done that. It's not that hard.
Okay.
It's a very easy process.
Sometimes people just look for something to complain about.
Okay, well, that's some of the critics are saying. I'm just here as a voice of the critics. I'm not what we do as reporters is we say, this is what your opponents are saying. This is what people on the street are saying, in complaining about some of the operations in Lebanon city government. That's what I'm hearing. Hasso, did you have a follow-up?
Well, I think on the same theme, having to do with transparency and with easy access and all that sort of stuff, we've heard over time criticism, Mayor, about how Lebanon conducts business in connection with public records or public information and so on. There was, for example, I'm grabbing an example here. A year or so ago, the city released a police officer after having that officer on leave for quite a long period of time and paying him. And the question was, what did the guy do? Why was he released, and so on. And one of the council members, if I recall, went to some trouble to try to find out, but was unable to find out. And I guess, and the public, of course, was not able to find that out either. What can you tell us about that? Why was the guy released, and why can't the public be told?
That's an employment issue that when the officer was put on administrative leave, there was an investigation done, and that's highly confidential. He was allowed to take early retirement. Part of that agreement was that those records would be sealed, and that's a personnel issue that, according to ORS laws, he has the right to have that sealed, and we are not at liberty. Personally, I don't know all of the details because I was not included in that, but that is all highly confidential, and it was part of the agreement.
The mayor even wasn't informed of what was going on with that guy?
I do not, and I have not looked at his record.
Okay. I mean, you can see why
that was a payroll decision. Not payroll. That was a personnel decision that is a highly confidential, and I would love nothing more than to be able to have that all exposed.
Okay. We are running out of time. Did you have one follow-up? Do you want to go?
No, I think that's the mayor's answer.
Okay.
Well, that's typical.
Well, it may be, it may be typical in some cases, although there have been, in some cases, people have gone to court and I think have won some kind of disclosure about that sort of thing. And the principle of it is that when a public employee in a very responsible kind of position, police officer, for example, has done something allegedly that may be wrong, that the public who's been paying for that person all this time and who has relied on that person and so on has some kind of a stake in finding out what happened and what was done about it and how it was handled. So I'm as somebody in the news business, I'm always on the side of disclosure of that sort of thing, and I really don't understand why some of that material has to be confidential.
The confidentiality was part of the severance agreement with the officer involved, and like I said, I would like nothing more than to be able to just lay it out and let everybody look at it. But the agreement, and our attorneys have told us that the agreement they made, if we violated that, we are subject to a lawsuit by the officer that was involved. So, and one of our city councils has sued for those records. The first judge that heard that case ruled in the city's favor. It is my understanding now that he's appealing that to the Court of Appeals. So that will be, and that's the first phase of that cost us about $6,200. To go through the appeals process, we're looking at another $10,000 to $15,000. That Judge Egan, who is now running for the higher office, ruled in the city's favor on that. So
okay, we need to wrap up this segment of the show. Let's give you 60 seconds to say wrap up. Why should residents of Lebanon, voters in Lebanon, return you to office for another term?
Okay, I ask for your vote to continue bringing prosperity to Lebanon. If a new business brings one job to Lebanon resident, we have been very successful. I promise to keep the vision alive. My vision has been and will continue to be keep a strong economic tax base with a strong economy we will have successful school systems, we will see sustainable growth, and continue to improve our overall livability in Lebanon. I also promise to support all city core functions, public safety, whether that be good building codes or excellent police services, street improvements, good water and sewer systems that allow our community to grow, and further develop our senior services and library services. Our accomplishments this past decade are second to none in Oregon. Help me keep it that way. Re-elect me as your mayor, and we will work together to bring sustainable prosperity to this generation and generations to come. Thank you very much, Dave.
Okay. Mayor Ken Toomb, thank you for being with us on Valley Talk today. We're running behind in breaks. We need to take one right now. We'll be back, talk to Annette Hobbs of Fish about what's going on there.
Hi, I'm Randy Hill, publisher of Willamette Valley Life, the Willamette Valley's premier lifestyle quarterly magazine. Willamette Valley Life features articles on the things that make Oregon's Garden of Eden a great place to live and visit. Interesting people, places to explore, music, wineries, and fine cuisine, and much more are all covered in each issue. We have it all here: lush green hills, rolling rivers, and towering waterfalls, and a wine country that rivals the world's best. We also have world-class food, art, and our own unique Northwest music. We think it's simply one of the best places to live, visit, and explore, and we are driven to share it with our readers. Pick up your own free copy today. Willamette Valley Life at hundreds of locations throughout the Mid-Valley, bookstores, coffee shops, banks, restaurants, hotels, and more. For more info, visit our website at WillametteValleyLife.com. That's WillametteValleyLife.com.
If you own a business and you're looking for a way to bring exposure to your business, call Willamette Valley Life at 503-507-1228. That's 507-1228. Willamette Valley Life. Places to go, people to see, things to do.
Fans, start here. Stop in any OSU Beaver store for your chance to win Civil War tickets. Serving OSU and Beaver Nation for nearly a century, we've got the world's best selection for you to gear up this football season. Hurry in. This contest ends November 16th. Visit on campus or in downtown Portland on the corner of 6th and Alder, or at Kaiser Station just off I-5 exit 260, or online at OSUBeaverStore.com. Sign up to win Civil War tickets today. Go Beavs!
Robert Mercer, a Wall Street hedge fund billionaire, has spent nearly $1 million to defeat Peter DeFazio and elect Art Robinson. Why? Simple. Art Robinson signed a pledge never to raise taxes on billionaires, and he wants to deregulate Wall Street. Robinson and Mercer, the hedge fund billionaire, have one goal: stop Peter DeFazio, who's one of Wall Street's strongest critics. Peter DeFazio has a long record of standing up to Wall Street and the banking industry. He led the fight against the $700 billion Wall Street bailout, and he pushed for stronger consumer protections against abuses by big credit card companies and Wall Street banks who care more about profits than people. And Peter DeFazio voted to impose new regulations on banks and subprime mortgage lenders who caused the financial meltdown.
Art Robinson owes Wall Street big time. That's not what we need in a representative.
I'm Peter DeFazio, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by DeFazio for Congress.
Creating a 211 resource phone line for families to get the help they need. Giving scholarships to children with special needs at Mighty Oaks Children's Therapy Center. Providing dental to low-income children throughout Lynn County. My name is Jim Merriman, and I'm president of Oregon Freeze Dry. We support the United Way because they are making a difference right here in the community where we live and work. Please join me in supporting the United Way of Lynn County. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united.
Beyond the Beltway with Bruce Dumont, Sunday afternoons on News Talk 1580 KGAL.
This is Valley Talk. Hello, I'm Dave Adams, and don't forget to sign up for the Quiznos Taste on Us. Send an email to dave@kgal.com or call us 541-451-KGAL and get it on the list. We're running behind time and schedule, so let's get to the program here. Annette Hobbs with Fish, thank you for being with us on the program today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Very successful food-raising drive. Tell us about that and also the need going forward into the winter. A lot of hungry people out there.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a wonderful turnout of volunteers this last rainy Saturday morning, and they went throughout the community gathering food donations from our friends and neighbors, and we're going to use those donations to help feed the hungry during the next winter months coming up.
What are you seeing for need out there?
The need is tremendous, and it has increased annually for the past 10, 12 years as the economy has tortured us all. And so we're seeing more and more people who have never asked for help before. We're seeing people who are hardworking, but there's just not enough money at the end of the month. Or some crisis comes and they're holding their own, and all of a sudden they need to fix the car or pay a medical bill, or the utility costs are more than they can handle. And so if we can help them with the grocery bill, that evens them out and keeps them going. And that's what we're trying to do at Fish, is to help people make ends meet.
What is Fish? We talked just before the break. Fish is not an acronym. It's a biblical Christian outreach. And what do you do?
Well, we took the name Fish because it is biblical, and years ago it was the sign that was used to denote that this was a place where someone could get a meal or to crash for the night. And that's very appropriate for what we do at Fish, because we are providing groceries, we're helping with basic needs such as clothing and medicine and transportation, and we have a shelter program for teen mothers and pregnant teens. And so we're doing just as the biblical sign denoted so many years ago. What
does the future look like, and what financially? We're not asking you to spread your spreadsheet on the table here and tell us, to the penny what's in your bank account, but generally what kind of shape you're in. A lot of nonprofits are hurting right now.
They are, and we are fiscally sound. However, there's not as much coming in as going out as in previous years. We've been able to build a bit of a safety net savings, but we're having to dip into that because the economy is so bad. We're having more requests for help, and the economy is so bad that people don't have as much to give as they did in the past. So it's a tremendous circle there, and so we're keeping our head above water. We're an incredibly resourceful group, and so if we can do it without involving any money, we like to, but there are some programs that are reliant on cash donations alone, such as purchasing gasoline or purchasing bus and train tickets and paying the power bill at the shelter and paying our staff to supervise those teens. So there's some financial situations we can't avoid, and so we're always out there asking for help because it's a wonderful service for this community.
What can people do to help?
People can volunteer. They can come in and actually help us pack the food boxes and sort the clothing. They can give from their own pantries or closets, and they can certainly give cash donations because all those little things put together keep us afloat here in Albany.
Okay, Annette Hobbs with Fish. Love to talk to you more about this. Maybe in the future we can. We're running up against the clock here, and we have to get some breaks in, and we're going to be talking to John Gibson here in a minute about Superstorm Sandy and its impact on the financial markets. Valley Talk will continue in just a moment.
The Osgood File, sponsored in part by Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit AutoOwners.com. This is Charles Osgood. The climate aboard airliners in the passenger cabin is a common complaint among air travelers. But at the recent Berlin Air Show, Germany's Fraunhofer Institute displayed a prototype climate control airline seat of the future. What it's like after this. In this moment, who has your back? Do you know the name of your insurance agent? Does your agent know your name? Or would you call a 1-800 number that connects you with who? Another state? Another country? Get a local, independent insurance agent with Auto Owners Insurance. Someone you can call when bad stuff happens to your car, home, or business. In this moment, get an agent who will protect you in that moment. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people.
In Martinsville, call BB&T Insurance Services of Martinsville at 276-666-3600.
Hi, Dave Lennox here. Fall is upon us, and that means colder weather. Now is the perfect time to replace that inefficient heating and cooling system. Lennox is offering a rebate of up to $1,375 on a new high-efficiency Lennox home comfort system, so you'll save money today and in the long run. It may also qualify for state and local incentives. So call 1-800-9-LENNOX or visit Lennox.com to find the Lennox dealer nearest you and get comfortable today.
Lennox dealers include independently owned and operated businesses.
Gunnar Grun, one of Fraunhofer's engineers who developed the prototype climate-controlled airline seat, says they soon found out that different passengers have different ideas about what's ideal, what's just right.
We have lots of complaints if it's warm and too cold, and both we have on the same time. So we said, okay, we need to bring the control over the climate to the passenger and to offer him some technologies so that he can be in control of the climate.
instead of the way it is now. Dissatisfaction for all.
One system, an individual nozzle like from above your head, but we try to bring the fresh air and also humidified air directly into the facial area via this device. Also, we have introduced some air outlets directly close to the passenger, where you can bring in the cooled or heated air directly near to the passenger.
So you can have one climate and the guy sitting next to you on the plane another, even though you're headed for the same place. In developing and testing the new adjustable climate airline seats, the input of the airlines went something like this, says Herr Grun.
They said, okay, we don't have any more room, we don't have more time to overhaul those systems, so we need to have very robust systems which also have a very short time during the grounding of the aircraft.
So far, no airline has actually bought the seats. When they do, if you suspect it'll be first class first, you're probably right. The Osgood File. Charles Osgood on the CBS Radio Network.
Banking these days can be pretty impersonal. You've got your big banks, your internet banks, your do-it-yourself banks, and your too-big-to-fail banks. That's why you might be interested in an alternative, Willamette Community Bank. I'm Dave Wood, President and CEO of Willamette Community Bank. We believe you deserve better service without sacrificing a thing. So if you're feeling underserved, make the switch to the best banking option out there. Willamette Community Bank, service like no other, we promise. Member FDIC.
Hello, this is Lynn County Sheriff Tim Muller asking you to join me in voting for Roger Nyquist for Lynn County Commissioner. While other counties around us have gone into financial meltdown mode, Roger's leadership on county budget issues have helped to ensure that the Sheriff's Office has the necessary resources to maintain the public safety. Throughout his time in office, Roger has asked the hard questions necessary to establish priorities and make the decisions that these tough times call for. Your vote to re-elect Roger Nyquist is a vote for a safe Lynn County.
Paid for by Friends of Roger Nyquist.
Pride. It's that simple. Now that's a motto that most everyone can relate to. It's the way Flowers and More has operated their business since 1991. Impress your special someone or decorate that special event by picking out a beautiful bouquet of roses or flower arrangement that is fresh and arranged with pride. Flowers and More is an FTD florist that ships anywhere. They deliver locally and are easy to find across from Pops at 740 Southeast Madison in Albany. Call Flowers and More, 541-928-8285. It's that simple.
If it happens overnight, Eric and Gary have it live during Red Eye Radio on Smart Talk 1580 KGAL.
And we got a lot to talk about today. John Gibson as the Superstorm Sandy. I want to talk about that in just a moment. First of all, a request out there. If your nonprofit club has something going on, you'd like to put it on Valley Talk, maybe even be a guest on the show, send me an email at dave@kgal.com. dave@kgal.com. And speaking of nonprofits, one that I'm involved with, it's called the Jesus Network. We are going to be, we have an online Christian radio station at tjn1.tv. We're going to be broadcasting live from State Farm Insurance in Corvallis, 1945 Northwest Kings Boulevard. Christian music from noon to 2, Thursday, November 1st. Stop by, and we're going to be selling raffle tickets for a trip to Disneyland, 5 days, 4 nights. And the raffle tickets are $10 each. Have to buy them in the state of Oregon. So if you're listening on the internet, you can't buy them from outside the state. So we'll be at State Farm in Corvallis selling those tickets and playing Christian music on our website, tjn1.tv. See you Thursday, noon to 2 at State Farm in Corvallis. Let's talk to John Gibson about New York. We're looking at the internet right now. Sandy causing at least 26 U.S. deaths. I'm looking at a picture of somebody riding a jet ski on the streets of New York.
Yeah, have you ever been incredible? Have you ever been to Manhattan?
Never have.
I have. I took Judy and Mary back a couple of years ago. It was amazing. Last night I was watching Fox Business News, and of course their camera pans out the window of Times Square.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a car to be seen. Now I have never ever seen that.
Were they just empty streets?
It was just empty streets from 35th Avenue all the way down to Battery Park, which is at the very south end of Manhattan, was dark. Con Edison purposely turned the power off because a lot of New York, you know, there's a seawall, but then a lot of New York is underwater once the water comes in because of the tunnels and stuff. The tunnel between Brooklyn and Manhattan flooded, so that was shut down. So now the New York Stock Exchange and all the other exchanges came out and said, hey, we're open for business tomorrow. But my question is, you're in a house with no electricity, more than likely. the train system is going to be shut down for at least 4 or 5 days. So you don't have a car. How are you going to get to work? And if only 1 out of 10 of you get to work, from my viewpoint in the market, that's a very thin market, and you could have a surge either way. And I'm thinking the surge is going to be up because there are 48 companies, I think it was 48 companies, have reported since the hurricane hit. And so, like, Ford blew out their estimates. And so there's all this. You ever seen a beehive when you started to mess with the beehive and, you can feel the bees? Well, today on all the stock shows, all the stock traders are just like that, just waiting to trade. They're all picking stocks that are going to do really good. Clean Harbor came up. Who ever heard of Clean Harbor? But they clean harbors and ships and stuff. And there's going to be a massive, home builders, copper is going to be needed. The commodity prices the people are going crazy. It's really, if it wasn't so sad, but that's America. We've had this big, huge, not tragedy. 9/11 was a tragedy, but we've had a big natural disaster. And yet, what do? We don't sit around and cry. We're all sitting around figuring out how we're going to trade tomorrow, how we're going to get in the market, and that's what's going to make America come back. Now, the other side of it is how it affects the election. I'm a little concerned that we're not talking so much about Benghazi and things like that we should be talking about. The media has the media has a propensity to overplay these hurricanes and stuff like that. So I hope it doesn't affect the election.
So far, it hasn't affected the stock market, or has it?
The stock market's closed. The futures were down 37 yesterday. I think the futures now are up 20. And what that is people betting on future puts and calls. Who's buying the calls, who's buying the puts. Puts are stocks are going down, calls are the stocks are going to go
up. So are
they
preloading their sales? The stock market is closed, of course. So are they preloading them? So when the gates open tomorrow, hopefully, all this is going to, pardon the pun, hit the market.
Well, I if you're off-site, like there's a branch in Portland for the New York Stock Exchange, so those sites are able to do some of that, but no, because you can't get to the stock exchange and get in there and do anything. So the traders are sitting at home, So no, they're not, but they are making decisions on what they're going to do tomorrow if we can open, because tomorrow is the end of the quarter.
7.5 million people without electricity.
Yeah. Not the end of the quarter, but the end of the fiscal year for several companies. The one thing that is running in New York is the debt clock. That is still going up, but everything else is shut down, basically.
Okay. Let's take our final break here. We'll be back on Valley Talk in just a moment.
Eugene Ballet Company brings joy to your holiday season with their performance of the Nutcracker on November 15th at the LaSalle Stewart Center in Corvallis. The wonder of this classic ballet will create memories of a warm holiday season. With Tchaikovsky's glorious music and vibrant dancing, Eugene Ballet Company creates a performance that always says Happy Holidays. Call 541-682-5000 or visit eugeneballet.org. In person at Graceman's Music in Corvallis and St. Stephen's Jewelers in Albany.
Do you have dark circles or puffy eyes? If you have dark circles under your eyes, bags, or puffiness, we're looking for you. Because right now, we're offering a risk-free trial of a fast-acting eye cream to listeners of this station. You heard right. Every listener who calls now can try a risk-free jar of Lumitone, the cream that fades dark circles from view in seconds. We only have a limited supply of risk-free jars, so don't wait. For details, just call 1-800-865-1483. Lumitone makes dark circles less visible in seconds. Watch your dark circles fade from view like magic. And Lumitone is great for puffiness, bags, and fine lines by the eyes. This risk-free offer is for listeners of this station, but it won't last. Call us now for details on this Lumitone risk-free offer. Just call 1-800-865-1483. That's 1-800-865-1483. 1-800-865-1483.
Have you heard about the DeFazio campaign fraud?
Yeah, Pete DeFazio has put up billboards with Art Robinson's picture and name on them that look like they were put there by Art.
It's outrageous. DeFazio's billboards misrepresent Art's views. DeFazio hopes voters will believe them if it looks like they were put there by Art.
Doesn't that violate federal law?
It does. DeFazio makes many false claims. He uses partial sentences and out-of-context quotes of Art to make wild claims sound real. DeFazio even quotes himself and attributes it to Art.
I heard DeFazio says he's against Wall Street, but he's got dozens of Wall Street corporations paying for his ads. Art Robinson doesn't get any money from Wall Street.
I've seen Art's real policies on signs in my neighbors' fields, lawns, and on cars.
My book, Common Sense, gives a plan to improve our public schools and increase Social Security payments. I'm Art Robinson, approving this message and asking for your vote so I can work for our seniors, for our students, and against political corruption.
Willamette Living Magazine brings you the best of our special area in print and online. Locally owned and operated, Willamette Living is the lifestyle magazine of Oregon's Willamette Valley from Eugene to Portland. Every other month brings a new edition packed with engaging local stories, beautiful photography, and offerings from our neighbors in business. Visit WillametteLiving.com to read the current issue online. Find out about advertising your business or subscribe now and have every issue delivered to your home or office. Willamette Living Magazine, your guide to the best of the Willamette Valley.
Home improvement will never be the same once you've heard The Money Pit. Saturday mornings on Smart Talk 1580.
This is KGAL Valley Talk. 4 minutes left to go in the show. In here with John Gibson, we're talking about the storm, the Hurricane Sandy, Superstorm Sandy is what they're calling it. New Jersey, in ruins, I guess, or very, very damaged. The governor of New Jersey is saying he's seeing damage he never thought he would see before.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's amazing how dependent we are on everything. The subway system in New York is going to be the biggest problem because water got down in there, and just like in the tunnels, and all that salt water getting on that cable. They're talking about having to replace, tons and tons of copper cables. And when you think about trying to open the stock market tomorrow, and I agree that it has to be open, that's the heartbread of America. But I just wonder how many traders are actually going to be able to get to the site. I've been there. It's a long walk across the Brooklyn Bridge, if you don't have a car. So the volume tomorrow is going to be incredibly light, I'm afraid. Or people might just somehow be able to get there, and with all this pent-up demand, we could see some real whipsaws back and forth because companies are having to clear their books now. This is the end of the fiscal year for hedge funds and stuff. So they might have been up, $20 on a certain stock, and they were going to sell 1 million shares and make their number. And if we don't open tomorrow, they can't make that trade, which is going to affect their bottom line. So we could have an artificially bad quarter just based on one day. Or on artificially bad year on one day. Isn't that amazing?
That's incredible.
We had a full moon, a hurricane, and the end of the fiscal year. Wow, who would have bet that?
So one day.
Yeah.
So what you believe is they're a bit overly optimistic on the resources they're going to be able to flip the switch in, and the people that are going to come in.
Well, they came out today. The New York Stock Exchange came out today, and I've been in the building. Mm-hmm. And they said, our floor we didn't have any damage. Well, I don't know. That's kind of a hard thing to say when I know how close they are to the water, and I know that once you go in the door, you go down to the floor, So maybe they didn't, maybe they did. We'll see tomorrow. It opens here at 6:30 in the morning, and I'll be there.
You'll be there watching to see what goes on.
Yep.
26 people have died so far, so keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Huge storm, Sandy, a superstorm is what they're calling it.
Well, no one's talking about the snow either. In Virginia, they were getting 27 inches of snow. And when I was watching last night, they showed the storm moving into New York. Right. But over near Chicago, there was a big cold front moving. You could see it moving towards the east. Now, those two are going to collide. This is warm water. This is cold air. I know what's going to happen.
Valley Talk, we'll see you tomorrow for Halloween. I'm Dave Adams, and make sure to register for Quiznos Taste on Us, Dave at KGAL.com. Bye-bye.
Locally owned and operated, this is the very independent News Talk 1580 KGAL, Lebanon, Albany, Corvallis.